Tired of dealing with annoying flies, fruit flies, and gnats in your home? The Zevo Flying Insect Trap is your ultimate solution. Don't wait. Check out the link in the video description now to get your Zevo Flying Insect Trap on Amazon and enjoy a bug-free home today.
The Hughesy, Ed and Erin radio show is the latest in a long line of breakfast shows for Today FM to be axed. The network announced that the breakfast show had sensationally come to an end on Wednesday. We've loved our time together on Today FM breakfast. However, due to some of our families living in different cities, we are unable to commit to 2025, Hughesy, Ed and Erin said in a statement. So with a heavy heart we are moving aside so Today FM can find the team to take them forward in breakfast. The program will be replaced with lovable night shift larrikins Jimmy Smith and Nath Roy, who currently host the Jimmy and Nath show. The news came after the GFK Radio 360 survey saw Hughesy, Ed and Erin drop 1.4 points to a 3.6 market share earlier in the year. The network has gone through 7 lineups in an effort to claw back some ratings from Kyle Sandilands and Jackie O. Henderson, who defected from the network to Keys FM in 2013. Daily Mail Australia look at Today FM's failed breakfast lineups over the past decade. Merrick Watts, Jules Lund, and Sophie Monk with Mel Brown took over breakfast radio following Kyle Sandilands and Jackie O. Henderson's move to Keys FM in 2014. However, the group didn't last long, with their radio show ending by January 2015. Former Spice Girl Mel B was the first to go after her 6-month contract expired, followed by Sophie Monk, who cited early starts as the reason for her departure. Merrick and Jules were eventually removed from the time slot to make way for Dan DeBuff and Maz Compton. I know it looks like a nightmare on paper, but for me personally I learnt a lot, Merrick told Confidential at the time. I learnt a lot about radio, about myself as a broadcaster. After presenting both national night and drive time slots, Dan and Maz were offered the illustrious Sydney breakfast program in 2015. Dan and Maz lasted only 8 months in the breakfast position before they were bumped to weekends in favor of a new show starring Rove McManus and Sam Frost. At the time of their axing, Dan and Maz had failed to gain traction in the Sydney radio market, sitting on a 3.6% audience share. Another high-profile duo that failed to capture audiences' ears were Rove McManus and Sam Frost. Taking over the slot in November 2015, the pair struggled to gain traction. The Sydney Morning Herald reported at the time that they began 2016 with just a 3% share of the Sydney radio market. In January 2017, Rove and Sam moved from the breakfast slot to a national nightly program. M. Rusciano and Harley Breen took over the slot in 2017. However, after just 12 months, Harley announced in November that he was leaving the station to focus on his stand-up comedy career. Following his announcement, M broke down live on air, admitting she was really sad about Harley's departure. 6 months after leaving the Today FM breakfast show, Harley revealed to news.com.au that he no longer speaks to M. No, we haven't been hanging out for spritz in the afternoon, he said. In December 2017, it was announced that Grant Denyer would join M. Rusciano and Ed Cavalier to host Today FM's breakfast show. However, just 8 months after they took over the ill-fated slot, M announced in early September that she would be leaving to focus on her comedy career and the birth of her 3rd child. Casual bombshell alert. This Friday will be my last day on air for Today FM breakfast, and I want to make it crystal clear that this is entirely my decision and not one I made lightly, she said on air at the time. The truth is, when I found out I was pregnant, I made my mind up on the spot that this year would be my last year of breakfast radio. Ash London was brought in as a replacement before joining the show permanently in January 2019. Grant, Ed and Ash continued to flounder in the breakfast slot. The Sydney Morning Herald reported at the time that the trio saw the show crash for its worst ratings in almost 2 years. In the July 2019 Sydney radio survey, they had just 3.1% of the total breakfast audience. Speaking to the I've Got News For You podcast in 2023, Denyer revealed his exit from Today FM's Sydney breakfast show was probably his most painful dismissal. One what hurt probably, I think, more than many, was breakfast radio, he said. That one really hurt because I'd had lunch with a head